everyone, I'm live here. Sorry, I just did a. I gotta clean this camera for a second here. Um, Sorry about that, guys. I advertised this to do my live stream at 9:30, but let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna. Okay, I'm not sure if that actually worked or not. I'm trying to share this while I'm actually streaming, so this is all new. I'm just figuring this out. Uh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, I actually advertised to actually do this at 9:30, so I'm just kind of keeping my word here by streaming at 9:30. Um, but I think there was a little bit mixed up. Anyway, I made it back on the road. I made it over to the island here is. Give me a second. No one's really in the room right now, so I got one person. Yeah, there's a little bit of confusion. I was between. I was like, well, since my video on the premiere was only 20 minutes long, I was like, I'll do a live stream right afterwards, and then that way, because it's such a short video, I prefer them to be around a half an hour. But an hour sometimes getting like pushing it a little too much. So I figure I'd fill in that gap that since it's such a short premiere follow it immediately up with live stream, but I forgot to advertise it. I posted that I would be doing it at 9:30, which is 10:30 Malaysian time. But I forgot to actually schedule it. So hence the jumping in here and trying to, you know, the house looks rather nice. Okay, yeah, guys, we got 4 people. That's enough to start giving a tour here. 5 people. Let's give a few more minutes to let people catch up. So since leaving, it was kind of funny. So when I was in uh, um, Tanjung Balai, it was sunny day, sunny day, sunny day. When I was in the hotel room, but as soon as I left to get out on the road, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get up and get this, bicycle tour on the road. That day, it decided to start raining, and since I'm camping every day since then, it was just rain, 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 rain. But I am going up into the jungle more, away from the coast and up into the jungle. So yeah, it's been raining on me. Days are nice, like this, but then towards the evening, Flea, you mentioned that in the evening the showers come and stuff like that, because the heat. And if you don't know, Flea's our local weatherman here. He's the one that's been keeping an eye on the weather for me, and usually telling me what to expect ahead. Sorry, I'm still waking up here. Yeah, this is a nice spot. So when you get off, at least when I got off the ferry here in Tuk Tuk, the little on the island, it was just right here, and I walked right by these areas, and see, this is where I'm at. So I'm staying in. Kind of walk around. Nice big spacious room, you know. Spacious room. They have I did a little walkthrough. Here, let me do this so it doesn't look so strange. Okay. So yeah, this is like his business right here. So he does like tours and stuff like that. Still backwards. I tried fixing that. Um, he does tours, and this is hello, and this is the family. And they offered actually for me to actually camp right here for free and stuff. They've been very gracious. They have local coffee. So this is grown here on the island. So yeah, he was telling me all about it. And so these are all local growers. And he makes up a really good coffee. he's got fruit and stuff because this is his little farm out here. So where you get off the boat is right here. He owns all this. He said I could set up here for free. Um, so he wasn't really trying to hard sell me on anything. He was just being very nice and stuff. And this is all his family right here, like his uncles and his, you know, his father's dads and stuff. Owns a restaurant here. I just had a wonderful breakfast next to us. But you know, he does host backpackers that come through that, you know, looking maybe can't afford a spot. But the room is only like 100,000 rupiah. So you're talking about $6. And I was like, I feel like having a bed after being in a tent and being rained upon. But yeah, I mean, as soon as you get off the boat, you know, it's a beautiful spot, you know. Kind of walk around a little. I'm not sure if it's breaking up. Gotta remember about the Wi-Fi here. So Uncle, dinner at night. Right here is where I just had breakfast. Let's see. So right here is where I just had breakfast. So this is also his uncle. Breakfast there, and yeah, so it's all like it's all like one family. Well, it's actually one tribe. It's at the Batak Toba tribe. So this is basically our ancestral root area. Anyway, let me sit back down for a while and catch up on the. Sorry guys, I'm still waking up, so my brain's a little asleep still. Is my face sunburnt? I was looking at it the other day. It looks super red. It's okay. I absorb the sunburns fairly easy. I turn tan real fast. I don't usually peel unless it's like super, super bad. Morning, brother. Hey, Eric, how you doing, my good brother? Wi-Fi is good. Yeah, it's really actually non-existent here, but is his uncle's coffee shop. So, you know, it's all part of the same family. I don't recognize that building. I stayed next door at the Bagas Hotel. Yeah, I'm gonna leave I actually, on the short, I actually put the name of the hotel here. It's the first one you get off as soon as you. Now I don't know how many ports the actual. I went to the port authority to get my ticket to come across, because the spot that is listed as the ferry terminal, that's for like online bookings, and I think it's the more expensive routes. And I came down to basically the port authority is the boat that leaves. You know, like there's like 3 boats going back and forth. It's 20,000 rupiah, which comes out to about $1.60 or something, or a dollar, less than $1.60. It's a dollar something. So, and it was 20,000 for the bicycle, so it was like $2 and $3 maybe total, less than $3 for all of us. Yeah, that's really cheap. But yeah, it's really nice. I didn't have to go looking. And if you look at Booking.com or Agoda, and you cross-reference their comments, you know, with other places, you know, like Google Maps and stuff, you see not all of them have real good reviews. So it was nice to find this spot with such a friendly person. And everything's next door. You know, you get your breakfast there, you get your dinner there. I did actually have a coffee first, but I'm one of those people that needs several of them. You notice, like in my older videos, I'm always like stopping at the store and drinking a energy drink. I used to be, when I was a heavy drinker, it was like nonstop, wake up, start drinking, you know, and through the whole day just drinking. Well, when I quit, that habit, you know, that oral fixation habit was still there. So I had to replace it with something. So in Hawaii, I replaced it with energy drinks, but they have some that are like 300 milligrams of caffeine, and you drink too many of those, you're like, ooh, I better lay off. You're looking one not only at like a heart attack, but you're also looking at diabetes from how much sugar they put in it. So I went back to like just cold shaking instant coffee for a while. So good morning, Mohammed. How you doing, my brother? Uh, with the rupiah, so used to 1 to 1. So rupiah, the way Irish, the way I figure it, is it's $6 for every 100,000 rupiah, right? Um, so give or take, it's like $1.20 per two, $1.20 for every um, 20,000 rupiah. So I just round it to a dollar. So if it's like 4 rupiah, I just think, oh, that's about $4. There's some change involved, but just for ease of use in my brain, but yeah, it's like $6 for every 100,000. And it's the same like with I think bot is the same way. You just drop the last three zeros. You don't even think about the last three zeros, and you just go by the first one. So if it's 100,000, you just say 100. If it's 20,000, it's just 20. It's I've ran into that a lot where they in other countries they just ignore the last three zeros like they're not even there. So. Uh, yes. So yeah, I'm just trying to because I disappeared off the radar. So it went rain, 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 and so side trip life. There's uh, so I have like all this when I get to camp and I set up camp. I was like, I just don't feel like editing into the dark, and staying up all night and doing that. So I've been holding off. So I have all the raw footage, on my phone and on my camera. I just had to transfer the rest over onto my camera, and then put it in its timeline, in its proper timeline, and then just start editing it. And I think I have like at least 3 days to catch up. So today is just all straight focus on trying to get them up and uploaded, and then I'll just start putting them out. When I don't have Wi-Fi, at least I'll have a video that I can just flip on because it'll already be on YouTube. It'll just be set to private. I won't flood the market like I did one time. I had like 5 videos that I just did back to back to back to back, and it was too much. It was like a marathon trying to catch everyone up. I'm just going to be happy that the long format video is going to probably be like a few days behind. But I'll just keep posting the shorts because I can upload those in 1080, which is good quality, and that'll keep you up on my day to day. Where I'm at. You just have to kind of wait a few more days before you get the actual longer format. And I'm sorry about this one being so short. Most people are like, 3 days for a 20-minute video. Eric, they are working on the law to reduce it by 3 zeros. Yeah, Flea, I was told that some countries just do that. After a while, they just drop the last three, but it takes, that's a currency shift. I don't know exactly, like United States wants to get rid of the penny because the pennies cost like 5 cents to make every penny. It's like, why would you spend 5 cents to make 1 penny? But we haven't done it because I don't know. I don't know why we haven't. Just dropped to where we just used a nickel. So America needs to do a currency shift too because our pennies aren't worth nothing. Yeah, working on the law to reduce it. 1 million rupiah. Oh yeah. So how would that work with because the ringgit is about a quarter of what a U.S. I just convert to U.S. So yeah, the ringgit is like a quarter of what the U.S. is. So like 4 ringgit I think is a dollar, isn't it? Yeah. As soon as I leave a country, I forget the currency. A few days video and a short is good enough, brother. Thank you, Arish. How you doing over there, Arish? You doing well? Yeah, that's what I figured. You know, since I have such a nice family here, oh, I'm sorry. Uh, Side Trip Life says no worries. Toba perfect for taking a few days off and editing by the lakeside. That's what I'm gonna pretty well do. Um, when I first started, I was such a big heckler on making sure that when I was done for the day, I was posting that video, editing and posting, and that was driving me to like 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning, and I did that for like over a half a year. Just, and that's why you see me always starting my days like at 10 o'clock and stuff like that, and 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock, because it's like if I'm not rolling out of bed till 10, I start packing up my gear. Sometimes it's like, you know, when you're just lazy or don't have the coffee in you, it takes you an hour to get do something that only takes 10 minutes to normally do. And yeah, so, but then that just causes one of those cycles, you know, where it's like now you're, you know, plus I'm on kind of like a night owl anyway. I've never been a real good morning person. Um, that's one of those things you have to work on though. Like, I'm not sure if anyone here has done the Camino Trail, and you'll hear me talk about it just because it was a good changing point in my life. The Camino took me away from mindless travel to like goal-oriented travel. You know, just something to do. You know, um, because before it was just wherever the wind blew, like, oh, go over there, hey, I'll go over here. And most of my life I did that. And the Camino, a lot of people do it for spiritual reasons, and they're like, why are you doing it? And I'm like, because it's a trail. I saw the movie The Way, you know. And but it's funny because when I'd say, oh, I saw the movie The Way, a lot of other people would pop up and go, oh, that's why I'm doing it too. So, but what it did was when I finally got across the the all of Spain, walking from France over to Spain, I was dropping a pin in Google Maps, right? And let me show you. And so, and I left it in a folder just called, I think it was just called Camino. Yeah, Spain. And when I got done with it, you know, I looked at it and I'm like, holy crap, I walked all the way across Spain, you know. And I did. I started way down in the south and I did what was called the Fisherman Camino. And you guys probably all know this from me talking about it in the past. I came over from Morocco to Tangier. I walked to the beach and just started walking, and this is where I slept on the beach in my sleeping bag until I got up to Cadiz. I was like, well, I was like 100 kilos, which is like 200 pounds, right? And asthma and all this, and just living the hard life, you know, as a hobo, drinking a lot, and you know, so I was still in bad condition, even though I was quit drinking years before now. Um, I just never did anything to change my health. So when I got to Cadiz, I was like, I think I can actually do the Camino. So I took up to do the Portugal one, which is in Portuguese. But some of the locals were like, they talked me into it. They were like, hey, what you need to do is don't start in Porto, right? I was going to start in Porto. They said, jump on the train in Porto and go up higher into a little town called uh, what's that town? Tui. They said, and it's right on the border, and it's all small little villages and coffee shops, and just the whole way, the whole 120 kilometers. So I did. I was actually going there to actually hopefully meet the locals and do it with them because all the locals like to do the last 120. They don't like to do the whole, you know, 780 kilometers. They just like that little last part. So but I ended up there like 3 days before they were going to be, and I didn't want to hang around for 3 days, so I just started walking it myself. And yeah, by the time, and you still get your Compostela. That's the you get stamps along the way in a little booklet, and then you go into the government office where all the pilgrims go. They look at your booklet that you did the trail, and they print you out like a nice what's called a Compostela. It's a nice little you know. Sheet of completion, right? That you can pin on your wall or whatever. And so I got that my first Compostela, but by that time I was hooked. So I went to the one the Trail of Francis, which is the one that's on the movie The Way. So and that's where I started that long one. And yeah, and you have to first start by going over. So I took the bus all the way out here and then started on the trail. But by the time I got done with it, I had this little thing showing me that I walked across the whole country, you know, all the way to the coast. So I actually went farther than I needed to. And that's where I met certain people, not Doug from Planet Doug, but another friend of mine that I talk to once in a while, Doug. He's going back to do the Norte. There's several trails that you can do. Anyway, that's when I was like, wow, it's kind of neat to have a goal while you're traveling, because now it's like you're not only just going to see things, you're going to do things and see things. So anyway, sorry guys, that's a long wind. So it changed my view on how to travel. So um, right after the Camino, I went to Japan to do that one, you know, because there's only two UNESCO World Heritage. So I'm actually registered uh, in UNESCO's computer bank as one of their dual pilgrims, the ones that walked both of their trails. And so, yeah, so I went there and got that. And that's why I paid for the ticket to actually go all the way across the world to the other side, which I wasn't going to do. But I knew if I procrastinated it, I would never get it done. So, anyway, then after that, that's why I picked up the bicycle, because I never did the bicycle. Okay, let me catch up on this. Sorry, that was long winded. Uh, no worries. Okay, you need to achieve a good work-life balance. Yeah, and I'm still, yeah, Flea. Still trying to figure out that editing work-life balance. And not just fully ignore it like I did the last few days, but learn how to break it up into smaller chunks so it's not all one big consumption. It's so yeah, I agree. I need to learn how to balance the two. Flea said I need to achieve a good work life balance. So yeah, but I've been trying to look for that balance for the last 8 months, and I haven't found it yet. And my travels experienced by editing till the wee hours on the road. Yeah, side trip. I refuse to ruin my travels experience by editing to the wee hours on the road. Yeah, no, I agree. That's why some people just refuse to do YouTube altogether or take pictures altogether. But I spent the majority of my travels, you know, not recording anything, and I kind of regret that because I was also drinking a lot, so it's not getting recorded up there too well. Um, so this is the first time I'm really documenting. So something that started as just a bike trip across Vietnam ended up being, well, you know what? I'll just record a whole year of my life. I don't know why I decided on that, but now that I set that goal, it's like I want to meet that goal. So, but I'm breaking away from the daily vlog where I'm not so hard on pressuring myself to have it out right away. My older videos was that day I posted, you know. So, but that was just ridiculous. It was too much of a workload. So I agree. There has to be a balance somewhere. I just haven't really found it yet. My son rides AH number 2 every day. America. So Erish is the one I gave the bicycle to. He's the legendary rally racer, which he is actually. I'm not joking around. But he didn't tell me that. Someone in my comments did. But he's also been a great brother to me, and I feel proud that I gave the American Hobo 2 bicycle to you, brother. I'm glad your son's loving it. it you can't do much more damage to it, right? Actually, it does have those two spot. The bottom bracket was replaced, and the back cassette was free will was actually replaced. Uh, okay, good. I mean, if he wanted to sell it, you know, maybe one day. Once I get real famous, it might actually be worth something. I shouldn't have gotten rid of the first one. I really should have tried to give away the first one. But I was like, do whatever you want to do with it if you want to scrap it. Because the first one was in really bad condition, but it got me through 3 countries. My sister went to Spain and did a decade or and did that a decade ago, and she came back with swollen ankles. Oh yeah, the Camino will give you swollen ankles and blisters. Keep around 30 kilometers or less. If you start pushing above 30 kilometers a day walking, you're going to start forming blisters. They also have something, I still actually have a pair of what's called blister socks. And an old bushcrafting thing we used to do is carry around pantyhose, like the leggings style pantyhose that really grip your legs. Yeah, I know. Don't say anything. It's a bushcrafting trick, and you wear those under your socks. And if you get the longer leggings, they're good too because in cold weather you can pull them up higher and you can stuff like material like crunched up like newspaper and stuff as insulation in them, and it keeps it like against your leg and keeps a dead air space for between your pants and your leg. But it stops the fabric from rubbing on your skin. So the blister socks are just basically a panty liner sewn into a sock, and that's all it is. And then they sell them at Decathlon for a ridiculous amount. Also, what it works is just Vaseline in your on your foot. Rub up some, I mean, a decent amount. Not thick. You don't want to be walking around in goo, but it stops the fabric from rubbing on your causes the fabric to stick to your foot more where it doesn't rub, and it'll stop you from getting blisters. Now, swollen ankles, that's just going to be because you're out of, it's your body wasn't ready for it. Um, yeah, and just drink lots of water, and yeah, I don't know. But yeah, a lot of people end up having to quit the Camino because their body's not ready for it. That's why I did the smaller ones. Poor Wi-Fi where I'm at right now. Doug says I'm so the signal can't keep up with your live stream. That's okay, Doug. Yeah, you're up north of me. You gotta hurry up and catch up. Hey Nikta, where are you? YouTube videos when you traveled to Spain, France previously. You cycled or walked. So I walked Spain. I walked Japan. So and everything from anything before Vietnam, I have no YouTube videos. So all my YouTube videos that are on this channel are the ones I have. Now I have some miscellaneous videos from Spain and stuff. I can start packaging. They're just miscellaneous. I have a few mountains that I climbed in Laos just because, I was already into looking for trails. And once you get really up in the northern part of Laos, you start getting into where you no longer take the buses everywhere. The buses, the little vans. You have to get on boats and go up even farther into the very small villages. And what they usually have are what they call viewpoints, which are basically mountains that you just climb. And so I actually have a video of me actually climbing one mountain. I got to the top, and I did it in Crocs. I really shouldn't have done it in Crocs because that one got where it was actual like real climbing. And but yeah, I climbed a mountain in Crocs. I have a few videos like that. I guess I could start putting some of those out. But they're just, camera, using my phone. Same way that I did Vietnam when I first started. So, yeah, I could actually start throwing some of those up. But let's see. Most of those videos, it doesn't go back farther than, it doesn't go back really that much farther. Like I do, the oldest video I have is when I was living in the tent out in Tennessee, and that was about it. So yeah, I'll try and actually start packaging some of those together, some of the miscellaneous ones, and throwing them up. Okay, let's see, where am I at? Okay. America. Planet Doug, sorry to hear that. Doug, actually, Planet Doug, does your Indonesian SIM card still work? Does your Indonesian SIM card still work? I don't. Oh, you mean for Doug's? I don't know. Do you have touch and go in Indonesia? I think these are all questions for Doug. I don't know about touch and go. I didn't use touch and go in Malaysia either. Just cash only. Daniel, try and check out Huta Salenga optional guide is 100K, but worth it for the backstory and great for a vlog. Okay, I'll look into that. Like I said, he's a guide. This guy right here. So honestly, I probably wouldn't have to go much. Or just go see what he knows the history of this place too, because it's his ancestral home. Um, I'm working, but I don't know if the phone is. Okay, I'm just catching up on these. I think it's possible to test. These are on the. Oh yeah, he was talking about cannibalism too, and yeah, he was showing me the map and like all the different areas, and like I said, he's very knowledgeable. He's for being in his 30s, so I think he's a proper, But he was talking about the areas for cannibalism. He says not anymore. And I said, so no barbecues, huh? And yeah, so no good. What is that? That's called long pig. No long pig barbecues. Uh, you don't know what long pig is? Look it up. It's in Wikipedia. Yeah, long pig barbecue. So for the rest of the story, it would be awesome if it worked there too. How many days you plan to stay in this hotel? Nika, I have to stay today. I'm gonna just like a turtle stay in my shell and just sit out here in the sun, obviously. Just edit, and I think I got 3 days worth of editing. So you're looking at even if I breeze through them really fast at 2 hours each, that's still 6 hours of editing, and then it also takes a process of uploading. So you're talking about all day today, because if I upload them, I have them all even set to the private, in YouTube. Then when I'm out traveling again and I don't have Wi-Fi and I don't have connection or something, all I have to do is get on YouTube, even with a choppy signal, right, and just flip it from private to public, and then there's a video available for everyone, and just kind of do the next 3 days that way, and that way that would give me a chance to build up those days that I'm traveling to the next Wi-Fi area. So I'm planning on all day today, hopefully getting it all done and uploaded today, but it's going to be an all-day event today. Like I said, that's 6 hours without upload time. And they upload each video. Yesterday's video was, if you don't use the phone, I think it was like an hour. So these are things I'm going to try and get done. So I paid for one more night. But I don't want to stay too long because I do really need to actually keep moving forward, because there's going to be plenty of times along the way that I'll have to stop, for one reason or another. Weather being way too bad would be one. But if you know me, you know I don't have any problems with throwing on a raincoat and just pedaling. So touch and go is local currency of can you use your SIM card data plan or too slow? Now, Nika is one thing I noticed with my Wi-Fi or my SIM card data is it's also choppy. I see it disconnecting and reconnecting, and the part is like it needs just to be really stable. It doesn't matter how fast it is. If it disconnects and reconnects, it causes at least on the mobile app, because I do all my editing on my phone. If you guys don't know, I do all my editing. I don't carry around a laptop, so I can't pause it after it starts uploading it. That's it. So it's like and if it disconnects and reconnects too many times, it starts all over again. And there's nothing more frustrating than uploading a video for 6 hours and then all of a sudden see it go from 90% back down to 7%, or usually resets at 30% for some reason, just to piss you off. So yeah, and I've had it like after 2 days, I'm like, I'm just turning it off. It's just it's not uploading. So uploading on a SIM card is very tricky. Usually it means you have to be in a good coverage area, but if you're in a good coverage area, it usually means that there's probably a cheap hotel somewhere around pretty close that you can go get Wi-Fi. That's probably better at not saying. So Indonesia, I'm still too new though. I don't know what the coverage is like everywhere. I just know up to this point. I've been going through a lot of mountains. It's been hit and miss. It really has. I've downloaded a lot of videos and podcasts and stuff from YouTube just because I figured I wouldn't have much signal in some spots. Hey, Sass, thank you, my brother. You're welcome to the official Hobo Club. So if you guys don't know, I have 99 cent official Hobo membership. So yeah, Nikta. I'll just call you Nick. Nick was the first one, and Sass, you are the second one. Welcome to the club. Now we just need 998 more, and that's my goal is 1,000 99 cent of membership people. So that's cool. Also next door is Carolina Cottage. Maybe pop by for a coffee. Always stay there. Beautiful ground, lakeside. Okay, yeah, I'll start looking. Like I said, I'll I'll have to step away from the editing eventually, but I need to focus on it. But yeah, you get that cabin fever where you got to get out and do something because I can't completely ignore this. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful day, man. I'd be crazy just to spend all day indoors. Hey, Peace, how you doing, brother? Um, good morning. It'd be good to see some of the old videos, American Hobo before Cheap Bicycle. Yeah, like I said, it's just a collage of them. I talked a little different back then. I'm not sure if you guys know what Messianics are. Messianics, Hebrew roots, stuff like that. You can look them up on Wikipedia. But if you took a bunch of conspiracy nuts and put them all in a room together and they formed their own religion, Messianics. And yeah, that's basically what we are. We're like some type of high hybrid Christian, but we follow dietary laws and follow the laws of the Bible and stuff. And this is what I was for a while. That was the so-called cult that I got into. And I only call it a cult because it was. And it was only that way because we turned it into that type of thing. But it's like, so yeah, it's one of those things that we weren't Jews, we weren't Christians, we weren't, but honestly, if you just step back and look at it, you're like, well, you're just Seventh Day Adventist. You're just a little more crazy. And it is. And honestly, I look at the Seventh Day Adventists and say, what's the difference between us and them? Oh, they're Christians. And we used to badmouth Christians. We used to badmouth, everyone. It was like, oh, we were the secret club that had all the answers and stuff. And you can look up like 119 Ministries. They try and present the like the in a professional way with like polo shirts on and all this, but they're still part of the whole Hebrew root Messianic type thing. And yeah, so I spent a while in that. So that's why some people like why don't you eat pork and stuff? It's because of the habits of the biblical dietary code that we followed. It basically we say, oh, we only do exactly what the Bible says. So if you open it up and you read it, it says don't eat pork, right? And don't do this, don't do that, right? So we just did that. We didn't go by the rabbinical interpretations. We didn't, we made up our own interpretations. So yeah, it's like Seventh Day Adventist. Okay. Anyway, that's as far as I'll go on that. I'm no longer that. So if you look at my older videos, you'll be like, he talks weird, and it's because it wasn't Jesus, it was Yeshua. It was it's like instead of Moses, it was Moshe. It's like the real word, the real names. Um, but I do have some of those. I'll go from. Good morning there, Philip. How you doing? Release. So hotels are to catch up on editing and recharging power banks. Yeah, and like I said, yeah. So hotels and hostels are for catching up if they're under $10. That's always been my rule, though. The only time I've had to actually stretch that rule is in Malaysia because the taxes on top of everything took almost every single one of their accommodations over the $10 limit. And but here it's way easier to find uh, cheaper accommodations. It's just well easier in the fact that a lot of them are under that $10 limit. It's just they're not on Booking.com and stuff. So it's a little more back to the door to door. Excuse me, how much do you charge? Uh, have you found why rain leaks in with your tent? Yeah, it's poor fabric and the seams are not waterproof. A lot of times you have to re-go over the seams with a seam seal. Uh, but I mean, it would keep out a light rain. Uh, but yeah, but the hex fly I have is a 7D hex fly. It'll keep out the rain. I just had to when I pin it, so the tent can keep the basic structure, but then the tarp I can either string it between trees or pin it to the ground and just keep the fabric off the actual tent itself, and then there should be no real leakage problems. Like it didn't leak on me, and it rained really hard that night after I pinned out down the stake down the actual tarp. But I'll have to get better stakes. The stakes that came with that little kid's tent, really crappy stakes. And I'm normally I just make the stakes myself, but the eye holes on the tarp on the hex fly is not really meant to stake down. So like a big piece of wooden stake, I mean, I could tie it down. I could just knock in the wooden stake and tie it down that way, and most likely I'll do that until I find some other stakes. But yeah, it's just I'm getting tired of actually making stakes all the time. Every time I want to set up camp, just yeah, I'll carry around the extra weight. Just a few stakes, good stakes. Then I don't have to worry about finding the right stick and doing it every single time. So yeah, that tent leaks. It's mostly just the seams and just mostly just the seams and crappy. Just then it's also like up towards the top. There's that very small rain fly, right? Um, it's like once they got up that high, they kind of just botched it on the sewing job. So anyway, it's a $7.50 for the tent, and I really just got it just to have more of a uh, just to have more of an option, like because hammocks are so damn picky, like where you can actually set them up. I started hammock camping in Japan, just because I found the Hennessy hammock for a proper price. And camping gear in Japan's like four times more expensive than REI. So I was like, wow, Japan is like all just glamping. If you don't think so, look at the price for a walking stick at Montbell. They want $60 for something that shouldn't be more than 20. And Montbell is just ridiculously pricey. But that's what they're used to. So when I saw the Hennessy hammock for like it was like $200, and since you're spending over 50,000 yen, you don't have to pay tax. I was like, well, that's cheaper than if I actually ordered it from the company themselves. Hennessy Hammock's still a small company, but they're a renowned small company. That's all they make is the Hennessy Hammock. There's DD tents hammocks too. There's some preferred ones, but it seems like most people that are hammock campers like to fall back on the Hennessy Hammock. Um, but yeah, so I still have that. I just wanted something that was less picky. And honestly, going back to tent, the tent is actually, if you're gonna do this, if you ask me which you should start with, just get a good tent that's not as cheap as mine. But yeah, just get a better tent, and just make sure you're not setting it up in a low area, like where the water will come in and flood you out. And don't do I don't I don't believe in ground mats. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you need a ground mat. I don't personally use them just because if your ground mat is like sticking out a little bit and the rain hits the ground mat, it'll flood between the little tarp that you have on the ground and the tarp that's the bottom tarp of your tent, and you'll end up with like a waterbed effect, which I've done before. But if you do use one, make sure it's like there's about that much of your tent hanging out on the outer corners. That way, you're not going to be walking in the outer corners anyway, so you're not going to be, yeah, you know, so it'll be fine. Um, but I don't personally use a ground mat. Let's see. Have you found so far any street food make no, I believe it or not, the so far any street food makes you sick during all your time spent traveling? Which weird is no. I think it's just some of the spicy food gives you a little bit of the diarrhea and stuff, but not like food poisoning. Which I'm surprised because that's a lot of countries, um, and and yeah, so no food poisoning. Please ensure you have some important phone numbers like police, hospital, and relative to contact. No relatives to contact. Unfortunately, I lost contact with all relatives, so I do have a friend I can leave. Yeah, but yeah, I'll make sure I get the police number and the hospital number, I guess, like local 911. So what software do I use for editing? It's called UCut. So if you go download for our Android, if you actually I don't know if they have it for Apple yet. UCut, you can just get the free version, and it's robust, meaning it's simple. And but once you start exploring it more and more, you're like, oh wow, they have this tool or they have that tool. It's just I'm still figuring it out. You know, I'm still figuring out, hey, what's this do? You know, but it has too many tools to actually learn all at once. But like the free version, you get like 80% of it for free. You know, and if it has a tool that you want, like, oh, I want that, but it's only on the pro version, well, they give you an option, just like watch a commercial. It's like, here, watch this, 30-second commercial or this 1 minute commercial, and we'll give it to you for free, right? So either way, they'll get, they're not looking to make a killing off you. So, and if you don't want to sit there and watch commercial to get certain tools, or if you just want to support them, then it's a one-time payment for a lifetime, like membership, like $39.99. And I can't do monthly payments because being a hobo, you can't have monthly payments. The only exception to that rule is a phone, right? But even that's prepaid, like Metro PCS, Cricket phone, you don't ever do contracts. Um, so I support, UCut because they're not trying to make they're not trying to make a lot of money off you, and they're watermark free, meaning they're like what is it, CapCut or whatever. They put like a little watermark on it, I think. But UCut doesn't. So I went ahead and just paid it. And anytime I want to put it on a new phone or a new device, I just jump back over to it. You can put it on as many devices as you want. So I support them. It's a fairly easy one to use on your phone, but robust enough that you can constantly learn the new tools. Like I said, I haven't even scratched the surface on what I can do with it. And South Korea seems to be cheap too. South Korea, yeah, people want me to go over there for some reason. Well, the ones that I meet from that I've met, they're like, "Oh, you should go to South Korea." I'm like, "Eh." Yeah, the current system is that if you buy stuff more than Japanese yen 5,500. I thought it was 50,000. It's tax. Well, it's the equivalent of something like $50. If you buy something over $50 in Japan, it's tax free. But when you have when you have like the Hennessy hammock, Hennessy hammock's $200 regardless, right? And if you have it mailed to you because it's a small company, right? It's going to cost you like after tax, so $200 for the hammock plus tax plus shipping. You're looking at $250 or something, right? And so in Japan, that tax was free, and I was like, oh wow, that actually is cheaper. So I picked it up, and then I went in like a day or two yet later because Hennessy hammock has these little spouts that you put at the end of your rain fly, and when the water funnels off it, it goes into the little spout, and then you take your water bottle and you put it under the spout, and it's a water collection system for your for your hammock setup, and it's, like when you're way out in the middle of nowhere. And I went in to see if they possibly have that, because I still have that survivalist. For the ones that don't know, in my younger years, traveling around on the trains and stuff like this, one of the things that's really big is to get your knowledge of bushcrafting and stuff like this. So I spent many of my years where I actually stopped carrying gear and did shelter building. So I was traveling around with no gear on me, well, water and stuff, but no camping like tent, nothing like this. It means you have to at least stop 3 hours before sunset, right? And start building up your debris hut and stuff. In the desert, it's a lot harder because there's like almost no working material. But there's ways of doing the desert too. It's better to carry around like a tarp in the desert. It really is. But so I spent a lot of years just collecting up here, and seeing if I could actually do it. And it's kind of crazy because you are on the borderline survival. Like, so I've been hit with freak snowstorms and stuff like that in Preston and stuff like in Arizona up in the high desert. I had to build a shelter, like a debris shelter, which was like a fallen tree, and I took a stump, because even though the fallen tree is like this, once you start leaning the ribs of the wood up against it, so you can start building up the roof, your climbing space is getting smaller and smaller. So you want to expand up higher. You want it to be about chest height at least. And by the time I was done, it was already snowing really hard. And yeah, it was like, so you're really right on the border of actually real where if crap wanted to go wrong, crap could go wrong real fast. And now you're in an actual situation where your life's, depending on your skills, and you should never do that. Because if your skills are not up to, and I'm not saying I'm an expert at anything, but the only way to actually learn anything is go out and do it. So yeah, I traveled around a lot for a while without anything, and nights are miserable. Daytime travel is awesome. Where the opposite is when you're traveling around with way too much gear, and then it's like daytime travels, it's just terrible because you're carrying so much gear. But nighttime is great because you got all your cooking set, you got your tent, you got everything, right? So anyway, that's um, so stuff like the little water collection things, that I see that, I'm like, oh, I want that, because what if I need that? And I'm like, those are my old habits of that, that bushcrafting, survivalist type thing, always kicking in, go, oh, I need a solar panel. And honestly, I don't, because I'm not out in the bush, I'm not like way out in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, I don't really need to carry around a cooking set because there's food everywhere. I'm on a bicycle. I might have to go hungry for a few hours, but I will find food. It's not like I'm going to starve to death. So it's like a lot of the stuff is just stopping myself from getting useless crap that I really just don't need. But then again, I've had to use my water filter. And many a times I figured a water filter was like, that's just useless crap. But I've had to use it twice now. And if you just have to use it once, that's enough times to justify its use, So water filter I'm always going to carry. I pretty well always do. I have to say, you got a real strong stomach to not get food poisoning. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if the strength of your stomach determines if you're gonna get food poisoning or not. I definitely had where you have to be close to a bathroom, and one thing you always have to carry these on you, just in case, just like toilet paper. It's good time to travel to Indonesia because the rupiah is weaker against the ringgit. I don't know. I don't. Uh, I don't know what determines the value of money. You know, it's like what makes something strong, what makes something weak. I would say the euro in my book would be the strongest, even though American currency seems to be the leader. I don't know why it is that way, honestly. Especially with it's like the euro seems to be more of a standard across all systems, where most countries know what the euro is, but that's just my opinion. I don't know what determines what the strength is. Um, yeah, so this is it, guys. I think I'll go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going on 56 minutes. I wanted to do an update, just kind of come in and um, tell everybody I'm doing okay. I just have to, do some homework now, and you'll see me do this. And for the guys that don't know, I camp, but if it's under $10, I'll buy the luxury. But if it's over $10, I won't. And this is $6. Although he offered me free to camp in this beautiful yard here, or inside with his family. This guy, I'm gonna definitely promote his business as much as I can, just because how awesome how much knowledge he has. He's a tour guide too, So if you guys are looking for the touristy thing, but one thing, guys, this is his only room that I know of. Um, so I think it's just that one room. So definitely, call ahead if you plan on staying here and see if you can get it. But yeah, no, I think he's just been really cool. Like I said, I got to the top of the hill, and I was going to the one that had the best reviews, and it was still pretty low. And this guy was coming in and goes, "You need a spot?" And I was like, "How much?" He goes, "Free." He goes, "You can just camp right there for free." And I was like, "Okay, what's the gimmick?" But he was honest. It was just like, "Nah, free." And he did have the room, and I was like, "Well, how much for the room?" He goes, 100,000. He goes, "But you can also just stay for free." And I was like, "I'll give you 100,000." So because the reason why is, look, right now, not real busy, right? And every little bit like that can really help. He's got 2 kids or 3 kids. So it puts a little food on the table and stuff, and it's the least I can do. All right, guys, that's where I'm gonna. It's 51 hour. That's where it is. This spot's awesome so far. I ran into some really nice people right off the boat. My whole time in Indonesia, from Tanjung Balai to here, no problems. Respectful traffic. It's been very easy on the bicycling, right? So what I was coming over with, like, oh no, there is no shoulder. So yeah, that's true. But the drivers are respectful enough. Most of them drive in the center lane, like where the dotted line is. So because they don't want to come around a corner and hit something, right? So like a rock or something. So they all seem to kind of drive in the center and then kind of just move around each other. So that's very common. It looks haphazard, but they're really good drivers. They've been very respectful. I've only had 2 of the van buses not give me much room. Everyone else gave me plenty of. So far for me, the bicycling's been good. Although I was expecting a nightmare from what I've heard, and the people have been super friendly here. No problems so far, no dangers, no animals. Hey, and I also want to say, Sass, thank you for joining the Hobo Club. Yeah, so anyway, guys, that's where I end it. We're at an hour, and I'm gonna get to work. And since I put out a video today, I'll have one tomorrow. And just look forward for the next 3 days that I should have one, regardless, until you guys catch up to me. And then, yeah. And I'll keep putting out for people that want more up to date, go in my descriptions of my videos, not my shorts, but my videos, and open up my Google Maps journal, and that'll be up to date where I'm sleeping each night. And you can see everywhere I went in the past, and it has the blue dot is where I'm staying that night, and there's a little note underneath of whatever I wanted to add into it. And I'll do my daily little updates on the shorts. So keep an eye open for that. And if you're not joined on the Hobo Club, how dare you? Join. No. All right, guys. I'll see you later. And thank you for sticking around with me. Bye.